paper tape which will rip in my hand. That way I can just hold the fingernail down and rip it off.
This would be the thin weight of tape. This tape is also pretty thin. This one is your normal weight tape, and this is your wide tape.
And then you have to choose your height of your letters based on your tape. Obviously, if I made a letter this big, it's going to be very thin. And if I made a letter this big, it's going to look quite bold. That big, extra bold. I think we'll choose something like this. Again, ripping the fingernail, which leaves this sort of rough edge, which some people like, some people don't. You have to decide for yourself.
These are some of the excellent colors that tape comes in, including glow in the dark, right there.
Then you have to figure out, are you going to be writing in all caps? Like, should I start here? Or are we going to write lower cases for this? Let's just keep it simple and do all caps. So, start a Y, make it about the same width at the top. You know, it's tape, it doesn't need to be perfect. So you can eyeball that. Cut this off long, which is a good technique to always use. Twisted tape. And then put down a vertical stroke.
So when you start to make your letter forms out of tape, there's several ways of joining the lines. On the left, there's the square, which you need to trim the edges off to make sure that there's no tape hanging over. You can also do a 45-degree angle, which looks a little bit like a Russell square typeface. And then there's a few ways of doing serifs. One is a traditional slab serif, the second from the right. And then there's also the rough serif on the far right, which is by far the easiest kind of tape letter to make.
You have to figure out how you feel about these overlaps, because depending on the tape you're using, it'll show through or not. So here, you know, maybe I don't like that, but for this quick demo, we'll just leave it in. Moving along, next letter. So I'm going to do a P. You have a choice. Tape really wants to be it's easy to create these squared off typefaces. Now obviously if I cared about these overlaps, if I want dark square corners, I could have pulled that one all the way across. And here, if I want that square, I can go like that. If I don't want that inner square, I could cut on the inside. Pull this top layer off like that.
One thing to look out for when you're writing with tape on windows is that the underside of the tape is the same color as the top. For instance, this one is this icky white-ish tan color on the inside, and that's what it would look like from the opposite side of the window.
Again, getting the spacing about the same. And of course, since you're making your type by hand, you can make lots of adjustments. You could put the center bar here, you could put it down here, you could put it way up. Let's just use the same X height. And then the baseline should come off. And we have type. One word on a few advanced techniques. You could, of course, make your letters very quickly with this self-ripping tape, which has its own look. And you can also cut the tape once it's up to create sort of more unique shapes.
6. Oh, it fell.